Okay, shalom, shalom, brothers and sisters. This is Brother Yashar from the Milk Givers of Israel and the Seed Souls of Israel camps coming back at you one more again with another segment. First off, I would like to give all honor, thanks, praise, and glory to our Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, Yahweh wa Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Ruach HaKadosh. And as you can see here on my screen, what I want to speak a little bit about is this whole idolatry thing, man. It seemed like this is something that our people can't seem to shake. Our people are very heavily into this whole idolatry thing, man. If it's about worshiping other gods or other deities or other so-called messiahs, which is saviors, or being a part of secret societies or what have you, man. Fraternities, even down to our regular people. If you want to call regular so-called celebrities, our people worship all of the movie stars, the music stars, your actors, your actresses, your sports players. That's something that our people just love to do. We just love to idolize things, right? So that's the reason why I wanted to bring this out a little bit. And as you can see here on my screen, as it says in the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verses 18 to 20 in the King James Bible, it reads, "What profited the graven image, that the maker thereof hath graven it, the molten image, and a teacher of lies?" Right? So that's exactly what that is. All of these false gods, these false deities, and false messiahs that our people love to idolize, man, that's exactly what they are. They're teachers of lies, right? They're not the one true God, which is the God of the Bible and his son Hamashiach, right? So it says here that the maker of his work trusteth therein to make dumb idols, right? So that's exactly what they are. They're dumb idols. They're created images of man. They're not creations of the Most High, right? Because the Most High created man. So if the Most High created man and then man created these things, how can they be God? Right? So that's exactly what they are. They're dumb idols. Woe unto him that saith to the wood, Awake, to the dumb stone, Arise, it shall teach. Behold, it is laid over with silver and gold, and there is no breath at all in the midst of it. Right? So it says here, Woe unto him that saith to the wood. Now, if you look at the bottom here, at your examples, you have the cross over there, which is the crucifix. Now, back in the day, predominantly it was made of wood. Now nowadays, it's made out of jewelry, gold and silver or platinum, or you can get it in brass or bronze or whatever. You could put it on your gold chain, your silver chain, like most guys like to wear it. And it's made out of something other than wood, right? But back in the day, a majority of the time it was made out of wood. Okay, so that's the reason why it says, Woe unto them that saith to the wood, Awake, right? And as you can see there, have your false image of the Christ there, right? And then when it says to the dumb stone, that's either talking about here, you have your Buddha, you have your Saint Mary, you have your Estorith, aka Easter, right? That's what most of our people know that God as Easter. And our people just love to worship that God, every brink of spring, in church, so-called church, our people, they get dressed up in their best outfits, they tuxedos, the women wearing their tight little dresses, their high heel shoes, get their hair all done up, right? Just like they're going to a party or a club or something. But it's really church, so-called church. And they do that all in the name of Estorith, right? Worshiping another God. That have nothing to do with Christ whatsoever, and you can do your research and you can see who Easter is. All right. So that's your dumb stones. And then also you can say that's the rock that's over there in Mecca that the people of Islam worship. Every year, once a year, they go to the Mecca and they circle around that big, gigantic rock that's in the middle of the floor and they bow themselves down to it. They kiss it. They pray to it. They rub it. They caress it in all types of ways. And that's what they do when they show love to their God, which is a rock, a dumb rock at that, right? And it says here, Arise, it shall teach. Behold, it is laid over with gold and silver. So just as I was saying, you have your modern day crucifix, which is a cross. You can get it gold plated, you can get it silver plated. It could be brass, bronze, whatever you want it, right? Platinum. So it's laid over with gold and silver. and there is no breath at all in the midst of it. So that false image of Christ that you have on that crucifix, it's not alive. It's a dumb idol. You know, it can't breathe, it can't speak, it can't hear. You definitely can't pray to it. And what can it do for you in your time of calamity when you're in trouble? You know, you can't do nothing to it. You can't pray to it. It can't do nothing for you. So it's a dumb idol, right? But the Lord, which is the Most High, is in his holy temple, which is heaven, right? Let all the earth keep silence before him. So that's the words of a real God, which is the one and true only God, which is the God of the Bible, right? And his son Hamashiach. So everyone keeps silence before him. You know, you're not going to tell a real God to awake and teach, right? Or arise, it shall teach, behold, or saith to the wood, awake, right? You're not going to tell that to the one true God, right? How are you going to tell something like that to the real God, and then you're the creation of Him? You know, you don't instruct the Most High what to do. The Most High instruct you what to do, right? So that just goes to show that that's not a real God. That's a dumb, false idol, man. Right? And our people just need to stop that. You know, a lot of our people, man, they are very heavily into this idolatry thing, man. And they need to stop that and come back to the one true God, which is the God of the Bible, right? So I'm gonna go to the book of Exodus, chapter 20. Okay, and I'm gonna start at verse 1. And it reads, And God spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord, which is the most high, thy God, which is your God, your power, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Right? So that's the Most High. He's telling his people, I'm your God. I'm the Most High. You know, I'm the one that brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Right? So that's the Most High that's letting his people know that Egypt is bondage, right? In Greek. Now, the real place where his people was enslaved for 400 plus years, the real name is Mizraim, but it was called Egypt because it's really bondage, right? That's where the Israelites was enslaved. Verse 3, Thou shalt have no other gods before me, right? So that's letting you know all of these false gods, these false deities, these graven images that our people just love to idolize and worship. Those are the other gods that the Most High is talking about here, right? Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, right? No crucifixes, no Buddhas, right? No Egyptian unks that you have hanging down from your gold chains or whatever, or your earrings or your tattoos of Egyptian unks on you. You know, the eye of Horus and Osiris and all of that. You know, that's what this is right here. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, right? That means carved or tattooed on you, right? Or any likeness of anything that is in the heaven above, right? So you can't get that Islamic crescent moon with the star in it, right? You can't get that sun worship from Amun Ra of Egypt, right? That's in the heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, right? So you can't have that Jesus fish, right? That most of our people love to put on the back of their cars. That's in the earth beneath. That's talking about the waters there, or that is in the waters underneath the earth, right? So you can't be putting that's a graven image, man. Our people love to have that on the back of their cars or on the side of their cars. They have that so-called Jesus fish, right? Verse 5. Thou shalt not bow down themselves to them, nor serve them. Right? Just as I was saying earlier about those Muslims. They like to go to Mecca. They bow themselves down to that big gigantic rock that's in the middle of the floor and kiss it and hug it, pray to it, right? But they're only doing what they're supposed to do. They're worshiping their God. The Most High, you know, he just don't want us doing it, his chosen people, because we're going off when we do that. We supposed to be following this God right here, which is the one and true only God, the God of the Bible, right? So he says here, thou shalt not bow down themselves to them, nor serve them, for the God, Salakia, for I, the Lord, thy God, which is your God, am a jealous God, right? So he's letting you know he's very jealous. He don't like to see us going off worshiping and idolizing these other false deities and gods, man. No Jesus fish on the back of your car. No crucifix hanging down from your ears or your neck. No Egyptian unks or whatever. No Amun Ra and the Eye of Horus on tattooed on you or whatever. The Most High is a jealous God. When you see our people doing this and going off, he gets very pissed off, right? Visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children onto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me. Right? So when you're going off like that and you worshiping all of those other gods, that's like you're saying that you hate the Most High. You hate the God of the Bible. You hate him so much that you're gonna go get a tattoo of Amun Ra or an Egyptian Ankh or the Islamic crescent moon with the star or whatever, or a cross tattooed on you. That's like you saying you hate the Most High of the Bible. Where in the Bible does it says worship a crucifix or a crescent moon with a star or the eye of Amun Ra or Osiris or Horus, right? Or worship Estorith, aka Easter, right? It doesn't say that. It doesn't says that nowhere in the scriptures, man. And our people are going off doing stuff like that, man. Right? So it says, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children onto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me. So the Most High is saying, onto the third and fourth generation. That's your great, 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 great grandchildren, right? So that means your fourth generation gonna have to suffer the wrath of the Most High for what you did 4 generations ago. You know what I'm saying? So when you going off like that, man, that's 4 generations deep of curses that the Most High is going to put upon you. His wrath, right? And it says here, and shew mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments, right? So the ones that keep his commandments are the ones that love him. His law, statutes, commandments, right? That means keeping the dietary law, keeping the Sabbath, believing in the real, true image of the Messiah, right? According to the biblical scriptures and the Most High, right? Not that false image that you see on these crucifixes going around nowadays, or that you see hanging on people's walls or whatever, right? So we're the ones that really love him and the ones that keep his laws, statutes, commandments, and entice and persuade other people to do so, right? So I'm going to go to chapter 32 here in the book of Exodus. And I'm going to start at verse 1. Okay. And it reads, and when the people saw that Moses delayed to come down out of the mount, which is Mount Sinai, that's where Moses went to the top of the mountain in the wilderness to speak to the Most High to get all of the law, statutes, commandments that we're supposed to keep as a nation of people, right? So when Moses delayed to come down out of the mount, the people gathered themselves together unto Aaron and said unto him, up, make us gods, right? So as you can see there, that's plural, right? So right then and there, that's not the one and true God that our people were talking to Aaron about, right? Because there's only one God, as the scripture says, I am the one and true only God. There is no other gods before me, right? Or beside me. So they said gods, plural, right? Which shall go before us, for as for this, Moses, the man that brought us out of the land of Egypt, we want not what is become of him. Right? So, the sinners of our people, our forefathers and foremothers, man, they started growing impatient in the wilderness, because I guess they thought that Moses was taking too long speaking to the Most High, and they started getting impatient and they wanted his brother Aaron, to make them a graven image, which is a false deity to worship and idolize, right? And Aaron said unto them, break off the golden earrings which are in the ears of your wives, of your sons, and of your daughters, and bring them unto me. And all the people brake off the golden earrings which were in their ears, brought them unto Aaron, and he received them at their hand and fashioned it with a graven tool, right? after he had made it a golden calf, right, which is the bull that I showed you here. This just goes to show that our people, even back in those days, man, they was very heavily into idolatry, man. And that's the bull there, right beside the white Astoreth, aka Easter, you see there, right? So our people, they was going off even back then, even when the Most High saved them out of Egypt, which was Mizraim, out of the house of bondage in the wilderness. They were even going off there. That's something that our people is very heavily laden with, man. And we got to come up out of that, right? So going back to the book of Exodus chapter 32. Okay. And it says, These be the gods, O Israel, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt. And when Aaron saw it, he built an altar before it, and Aaron became a proclamation and said, Tomorrow is a day feast. Salaki, tomorrow is a feast unto the Lord, and which was supposed to be to the Most High. But in this case right here, he's talking about the golden calf that he just graved, right? Verse 6. And they rose up early on the morrow and offered burnt offerings and brought peace offerings, and the people sat down to eat and drink, Salaki, and to drink, and rose up to play. Right? So that's what they do. That's what our people even do nowadays for Easter. They celebrate Easter. They gather themselves together. They congregate. They play music. They have little gatherings and get-togethers, and they be out there barbecuing and partying and all of that stuff, man. That's exactly what they was doing here in verse 6. And they rose up early on the morrow, which most people do for Easter. They raise up early that Sunday morning, right? And offer burnt offerings, right? And peace offerings. Now your burnt offerings will be the food. That'll be your modern day Easter food, your modern day ham, right? And all of the other fixings that's around it, right? And bought peace offerings, right? That would be all of the gifts that you see our people bring to church, right? That's your peace offerings amongst the people there. And the people sat down to eat and drink and rose up to play. Right? So that's just let you know, man, that's what our people, we've been doing this ever since the wilderness, man. This whole idolatry thing, right? I'm gonna go to the book of Isaiah, chapter 44. Okay, here we go. The book of Isaiah, chapter 44, and I'm gonna start at verse 6. Okay, and it reads, Thus saith the Lord, the King of Israel, right? So this is written in small letter here, the Lord. And as you know, we call Christ our King, right? So this is talking about the Messiah and his Redeemer, the Lord of hosts, right? So that's the Redeemer. When Christ will be sent back into this world for the second coming, he's going to be known as the Redeemer of the chosen of the Most High, right? I am the first and I am the last, and besides me, there is no God, right? So, as I was saying before, when our forefathers and foremothers in the wilderness after Egypt, they said to Aaron, "Make us gods." Right? So this is the Most High saying, I am the first and I am the last, and besides me, there is no God. Right? So there's no Muhammad, there's no Allah. It's not about Allah, it's about Allahayim, right? The Most High, the God of the Bible. That's what that's about. There's no Buddha, right? There's no Amun Ra, no Osiris, no Horus, no Egyptology, right? No Semiramis, no Tammuz or Nimrod, right? And beside me there is no other God, and who, as I shall call and shall declare it, right? So the Most High is letting you know, I'm going to declare that, right? There is no other God, and set it in order for me, since I appointed the ancient people, right? The ancient people is us. That's the Hebrews, the Israelites, right? And the things that are coming and shall come. Let them shew unto them. Verse 8. Fear ye not, neither be afraid. Have not I told thee from that time, and have declared it? Ye are even my witnesses. Is there a God beside me? Yeah, there is no God. I know not any. Right? So he's letting you know again. And he's giving it to you straight. He's laying it down the most high. He's saying there is no other God besides me. Right? So that alone right there should make our people stop worshiping all of these false other gods, man. Right? Verse 9. They that make a graven image are all of them vanity. Right? They're all vanity, man. And their detectable things shall not profit. So he's letting you know here again in Isaiah, there's no profit into worshiping these false gods and idols and graven images. Right? And they are their own witness. They are their own witness. The people that create them and the graven images themselves, right? They see not nor know that they may be ashamed. So you're going to be ashamed. You praying all to these graven images and these false gods to help you out of your problems, your calamities and your afflictions, your trials and tribulations, and you're going to be ashamed because you're going to see that those are false gods. They don't hear your prayers. They can't do crap for you. Only thing they're going to do is sit on your shelf, hang on your wall, and hang around your neck or from your ears. Right? That's all they're going to do, and just look good. Right? So you're going to be ashamed when you're going through your little calamity or your afflictions, and you're praying to Amun Ra and Osiris and Horus and the false image of Christ, right? On the crucifix, the graven image. Right? So you're all gonna be ashamed. Right? I'm gonna go down to verse 11. Behold, all his fellows shall be ashamed, and the workmen, they are of men. So he's letting you know all of these false images, just as it says before, they're all of men, just as in the book of Habakkuk, right? They're not creations of the Most High. Let them all be gathered together. Let them stand up. Yet they fear, Shalakia, they shall fear, and they shall be ashamed together, right? So you're going to be ashamed with your graven image. You think that that's going to help you out of your time of calamity and trouble, right? The both of you going to be ashamed, even though the graven image can't feel or can't see or hear or do whatever. But you're going to be ashamed right beside that graven image, because you're going to come to find that it's nothing. It can't do nothing for you, right? So, as a matter of fact, let's look up the definition of vain, right? Since it says vanity here, so we can get a clear understanding of what this is right here. When it says the graven image are all of them vanity, right? So we're going to look up the definition of vain. Slack.
Vain.
Okay, and it reads, having or showing an excessively high opinion of one's appearance, abilities, or worth, right? So you have the similar meanings here, producing no result, useless. So that's basically what you're saying of the Most High, the creator of all creation, that they can produce no result and they're useless. That means you have no faith in the Most High, which is the God of the Bible, right? In a sentence, it says, a vain attempt to tidy up the room. In another one, it says, their flattery made him vain, right? So basically, in the first meaning here, you have having or showing an excessively high opinion of one's appearance, abilities, or worth, right? So basically, you're saying that the Most High is worthless, right? Or he doesn't have the ability to help you out of your calamities and your troubles and your afflictions, right? So if you look at the similarities to it, the meanings, what you have is here conceited, narcissistic, or narcissistic, Salakia, self loving, in love with oneself, self admiring, self regarding, wrapped up in oneself, self absorbed, self obsessed, self-centered, egotistical, egocentric, egomaniac, proud, haughty, arrogant, boastful, swaggering, imperious, overweening, cocky, affected, vainglorious, right? All of this right here means vain, right? So when you create those false images and those graven images in vanity, this is what this mean right here. All of these words right here. It's a whole broad band of meanings right here, right? And the opposite is modest, right? That's how the Most High wants you to be. He wants you to be modest and respectful and obey Him and keep His laws, statutes, and commandments, right? That's what we all should be doing as His chosen people here. Okay, so I'm going to go to the chapter 8 in the book of Isaiah. And I'm going to start at verse 18. And it reads, Behold, I and the children whom the Lord, the Most High, have given me are for signs and for wonders in Israel, right? That's his chosen people there, which is the 12 tribes of Jacob, in which his name was turned to Israel in the book of Genesis, right? From the Lord of hosts, which is the Most High, which dwelleth in Mount Zion, which is Jerusalem, right? And when they shall say unto you, Seek unto them that have familiar spirits, and unto wizards that peep, and under Slakia, and that mutter, should not a people seek unto their God, for the living to the dead, right? So that's letting you know there, if you're going to go to a person with a familiar spirit, which is a wizard or a witch, and to a witch or wizard that peep and that mutter, and it's letting you know, shouldn't not a people seek on to their God? So if they're not seeking on to the Most High God of the scriptures, then what does that says who they're seeking on to? If you're not praying to the Most High God, which is the one true God of the Bible, then you're dealing with Satan. I mean, that's just flat out, man. Right? So it's letting you know here, they're going to consult with their God, which is Satan, right? For the living to the dead. So if they doing that favor for you, which is alive here on earth, they're seeking to the dead, right? If you consulting with a wizard or a person with a familiar spirit, which is a witch, right? Or a necromancer or an enchanter, right? Those are the ones that have the familiar spirits, the mediums, right? Your gypsy woman, right? That believe in Buddha. Yeah, so that's what that is, man. To the law and to the testimony, if they speak not according to this word, right, which is the Bible, the Holy Scriptures, the law, statutes, and commandments, right, it is because there is no light in them. What is the light? The light is the knowledge of these scriptures here. It's the keeping of the law, statutes, and commandments. It's the believing in the Most High, the one true God, and His Son Hamashiach, right? That's the true light. And they shall pass through it hardly bestead and hungry. And it shall come to pass that when they shall be hungry, they shall fret themselves. Right? So they're going to fret themselves. They believing in all of these false gods and all of these false deities, and they're going to see that those graven images can't do anything for them. Just as I was saying, it's not going to help them out of their time of calamity and trouble and trials and tribulations. So they're going to see that, and they're gonna notice that, and when they acknowledge it, they're gonna fret, meaning they're gonna panic, they're gonna go crazy, man. Right? They shall fret themselves and curse their king and their God, which is the false gods, and look up, and they shall look onto the earth and behold trouble and darkness. Right? So they finally gonna realize that they've been walking in darkness the whole entire while. You're not keeping the words of this book, which is the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. Right? You're walking in darkness, man. And it says here, and behold, trouble and darkness, dimness and anguish, and they shall be driven into darkness. So you're going to be driven into more darkness, right? So that's saying there, when the Most High sent his son, Hamashiach, back, and when you get judged, to see if you're going to make it into heaven or hell, you're going to be driven into more darkness. You're already in dark, worshiping false deities. So when you get judged to see if you're going to go to hell or not, you're going to be driven into further darkness, right? As it says here in verse 22, right? And they shall look onto the earth, right? Meaning they just gonna fall down and just collapse. Their face is gonna be towards the ground, right? And behold, trouble and darkness and dimness and anguish, right? So that's what they're gonna feel, when they find out that those false deities can do nothing for them, right? And they shall be driven into darkness. Okay. So I'm gonna go to the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 18. All right. And I'm gonna start at verse 10. And it reads, there shall not be found among you any one that maketh his son or his daughter to pass through the fire, right? Or that uses divination, or an observer of times, or an enchanter, or a witch, right? So the Most High is letting you know you can't go to any of these people that does these things. These are Satan worshipers. That's who they deal with, right? A person that uses divination, or an observer of times, or an enchanter, or a witch, right? Or you can't cause your son to go through the fire along with your daughter, right? That's enduring the sins of this world, engaging in a sinful nature, in a egotistical, carnal minded personality, right? You can't have your sons and your daughters out here doing that, committing all types of sin, breaking the law, statutes, commandments of the Most High, just being all around unrighteous, worshiping other gods, joining secret societies, doing evil rituals, right? That's passing through the fire. You can't have your son and your daughter doing that, man, right? Or a charmer, or a consulter with familiar spirits, which is a witch, right? Or a wizard, or a necromancer, right? For all that do these are an abomination, which mean a very hateful thing, right? Unto the Lord, which is the Most High. And because of these abominations, the Lord thy God, which is your power, your Elohim, doth drive them out from before thee, right? Thou shalt be perfect with the Lord thy God, which is your God. So if you're not consulting to these charmers and enchanters and witches and wizards and warlocks and necromancers, right? You're going to be perfect in the eyes of the Most High. If you worship him only, that's who you're supposed to be worshiping, the one true God of the scriptures, right? And you're going to be perfect in his eyes if you keep in his laws, statutes, and commandments, right? And if you look up the definition of necromancer, as a matter of fact, I'm going to show you exactly what that is here, just in case for the people who may not understand what a necromancer is.
Necromancer.
Okay, here we go. A person who practiced necromancy, a wizard or a magician, right? Nowadays, a magician is looked at someone who's funny, who's good or positive, so to speak, right? But that just goes to show that the Most High, he hates necromancers. They consider evil to him, right? They're workers of Satan. Okay. If you go down here, it says, what does a necromancer do? Necromancy is a practice of magic involving communication with the dead, right? Either by summoning their spirits as apparitions or raising them bodily, right? So you're worshiping someone who deals with the dead and try to raise up dead bodies out of the grave, right? That's just plain crazy right there. For the purpose of divination, imparting the means of foretell future events, discover hidden knowledge to bring someone back from the dead, or to use the. Okay, so it's going into something extra there. But that gives you an idea of what a necromancer does, right? And all of that stuff is evil, man. You know, they glorify that stuff in movies and TV shows nowadays like it's a good thing, but that stuff is evil and it's an abomination unto the Most High, as he says in the book of Deuteronomy, man. And our people shouldn't be dealing with this stuff, right? If you look at the similarities in the definition, you have sorcerer, sorceress, wizard, warlock, witch, diviner, enchanter, enchantress, spiritualist, right? So that's what our people love to be. I'm a spiritual person. You know, I don't believe in the God of the Bible. I think the Bible was a fairy tale book, and I don't believe in hell. You know, so there can't be no such thing as Satan, and Satan is very real. The spiritual demon Satan is very real, and you got a lot of people out here that's worshiping Satan. You have your Luciferians, you have your Satanists, you have your atheists, right? And a lot of our people, they walking around talking about they atheists now. They don't believe in God. Like that's crazy, man. How in the hell can you not believe in the Most High? The Bible is right there for you, man. You can wake up in the morning and see the sun rising and see that there's a God. You can look up in the sky in the night and see the moon and the stars, right? Who do you think created all of that? The Most High did that. He tells you in the Bible, in the book of Genesis, the very first page. You know, so how in the hell is our people walking around, which supposedly the most spiritual people on in this world, talking about they're atheists and they don't believe in the Most High? That's ludicrous, man. That's crazy. If you a so-called Negro here in America, you certainly did not learn that from your own people. You learned that from like your oppressors, man. Your oppressors are the ones that's the atheists and they don't believe in the Most High, right? Or you following behind some other person of another nation that believe in some other god or are atheists themselves. But there's no way our people should be going around talking about they don't believe in God, man. And that's crazy. And that's your spiritualist here. You know, a lot of our people, just as I said, they like to say, "Oh, I'm a spiritual person." You know, so what exactly is a spiritual person? You have demons out here that's spirits. So what you worship demons now? You enchant with demons? Because that's exactly what they are. They're spirits. If you're a spiritual person, right? Medium, right? All of these different things here, you know, that's what's similar to a necromancer, right? And that's crazy, man. Our people gotta really get up out of that stuff, man. I'm gonna go to the book of Samuel, chapter 28. Okay, the book of Samuel, chapter 28, and I'm gonna start at verse 1, and it reads, "And it came to pass in those days that the Philistines gathered their armies together for warfare to fight with Israel. And Achish said unto David, Know thou assuredly that thou shalt go out with me to battle, thou and thy men. And David said unto Achish, Surely thou shalt know what thy servant can do." So David is saying to Achish, which is I guess, the commander or the king of the Philistines, that he's going to go to war with him. I guess he's sort of fooling them up, right, to think that he's on their side, you know. But we're going to get into that. And Achish said to David, Therefore will I make thee keeper of my head, Salakia, forever. And Samuel was dead, right? That was a prophet that was amongst Israel, right? That was sent by the Most High. And now Samuel was dead, and all Israel had lamented him. That means they mourned over him, over his death, and buried him in Ramah, even in his own city. And Saul had put away those that had familiar spirits and the wizards out of the land, right? So Saul was a king of the Israelites back then, right? And he knew that people with familiar spirits and wizards, they were evil people. They dealt with Satan. They didn't deal with the Most High, right? So he put them all out of the land because they was all wicked, right? And the Philistines gathered themselves together and came and pitched at Shunem. And Saul gathered all Israel together and they pitched at Jeboah. And when Saul saw the host of the Philistines, he was afraid and his heart greatly trembled. And when Saul inquired of the Lord, which is the Most High, the Lord answered him not, neither by dreams, nor by Urim, nor by prophets, right? Because Samuel, he was already dead. He was a prophet sent by the Most High. Then said Saul unto his servant, seek me a woman that have a familiar spirit, right? Which is a witch, that I may go to her and inquire of her. And his servants said to him, behold, there is a woman that have a familiar spirit at Endor. And Saul disguised himself and put on other raiment, right? Because he was a king, so he was always probably decked out with a lot of fancy clothes, right? And jewelry. So he put on other raiment to make him look like a common, ordinary folk, right? And he went, and two men with him, and they came to the woman by night. That means they did it privily. They snuck there, right? And he said, I pray thee, divine unto me by the familiar spirit, and bring me up him whom I shall name unto thee. And the woman said unto him, behold, thou knowest what Saul have done, right? How he have cut off those that have familiar spirits and the wizards out of the land, right? So the woman with the familiar spirit in Endor, she knew that Saul, he's a worshiper of the Most High, and he driven all of those wicked people out of the land, right? And she's recalling all of that to Saul, right? She said here, how have he cut off that have familiar spirits and the wizards out of the land? Wherefore then layest thou a snare, right? A trap, right? For my life to cause me to die. So, the lady, which was a witch, she thought that Saul was still witch hunting and wizard hunting, right? To kill them or drive them further out of the land because he didn't want them in Israel. He didn't want them to have nothing to do with Israel, having our people go off worshiping other gods, right? So the lady thought that that he was still witch hunting. So she was saying, you're trying to lay a snare for me. You're trying to trap me and cause me to die, right? And Saul swear by her, by the Lord Yahweh, saying, as the Lord liveth, there shall no punishment happen to thee for this thing. Then said the woman, whom I shall bring up to thee. And he said, bring me up Samuel, which is the prophet, the deceased prophet, right? And when the woman saw Samuel, she cried with a loud voice. And the woman spake to Saul, saying, what hast thou deceived me? For thou art Saul, right? So at first she didn't know that that was Saul, because Saul had decked himself in ordinary people's clothing. He made himself not look like a king, right? Not flashy and flaunty and all of that. So, when she found out that was Saul, she cried with a loud voice, as it says here. And the king said unto her, be not afraid, for what sawest thou? And the woman said unto Saul, I saw gods ascending out of the earth, right? So, and that's another subject that I want to speak on now. So, if she's seen gods ascending out of the earth, right? Now, if the earth is round, how can you ascend out of it? Shouldn't you be ascending off of it? Can't you only come off a ball instead of out of a ball? I mean, that doesn't make any sense to ascend out of a ball, right? But that's a whole different subject there. But anyway, as it says here in verse 14, and he said unto her, what form is he of? What form is he of? And she said, An old man cometh up, and he is covered with a mantle. And Saul perceived that it was Samuel, and he stooped with his face to the ground and bowed himself. Right? So that's Samuel going off. Salaki, that's Saul going off right there, bowing his face down to the ground, right? Because that's like worshiping something. You're not supposed to be doing that to anyone but the Most High, right? And Samuel said to Saul, why hast thou disquieted me to bring me up? And Saul answered, I am sore distressed, for the Philistines make war against me, and God Yahweh is departed from me, and answereth me not. Salaki answereth me no more, neither by prophets nor by dream. Therefore I have called thee, that thou mayest make known unto me what I shall do. Then said Samuel, wherefore then dost thou ask of me, seeing the Lord Yahweh is departed from thee, and is become thine enemy? Right? So that's Samuel letting Saul know there that, he's going off. And the Most High is not answering your prayers. He's not going to help you because you disobeyed him. You know what I mean? And it says here, being that the woman who he consulted with, which is a woman of a familiar spirit, and which I said was a witch. You see how she deals with the dead, right? She brung up Samuel the prophet. So that's what a woman with a familiar spirit does. They deal with the dead, and they work with Satan, man. So that just goes to show that people with familiar spirits are evil. And the Most High don't want us dealing with those people, man. So I just wanted to bring that out there. I'm going to go to the book of Leviticus, chapter 19. And this is all concerning idolatry, man. All of this stuff, when you deal with people like that, a lot of our people like to go see tarot. They like to read the horoscopes and all of that stuff, man. They like to go see fortune tellers and all of that. All of that stuff is idolatry, man. And it's all an abomination unto the Most High. We're not supposed to be doing those things. We're supposed to only consult with the Most High and his son Hamashiach, man. No tarot reading, no witch, no warlock, no diviner, no necromancer. If you want to speak, as a matter of fact, that's dealing with the spirits. A lot of our people like to say, oh, I'm speaking with my ancestors. My ancestors are directing me on the right path. All of that stuff is necromancy, man. And that's an abomination when the Most High see you do that. So all of those people that's gone off talking about listen to your ancestors and I'm spiritual and all of this stuff, that's evil, man. And our people, and that's idolatry, and our people shouldn't be doing that. Right? I'm gonna go to verse 31. And it reads, regard not them that have familiar spirits. Again, right? This is the Most High. Regard not them that have familiar spirits, which is a witch, neither seek after wizards to be defiled by them, right? Not blessed by them, not become friends with them, or worship the Most High of the scriptures by them, right? It says defiled, right? I am the Lord your God, which is the Most High of the Bible, right? So he's letting you know right there again, do not be defiled with people like that, or do not engage in stuff like that, because you will be defiled and you will become a hateful thing to the Most High of the scriptures. And he says, I am the Lord thy God, right? Which is the Most High. Okay. I'm going to go to the book of Zephaniah, chapter 1. All right. And I'm going to start at verse 4. And it reads, I will also stretch out my hand upon Judah and upon all the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and I will cut off the remnant of Belial from this place, and the name of the Shemaraims with the priests. Right. So the remnant of Baal are the people in which I was describing in the book of Deuteronomy, Exodus, just in Leviticus right here in the book of Isaiah, right? In First Samuel, that's your remnant of Baal. Those are your familiar spirits. Those are your wizards, your witches, your necromancers, your enchanters, right? That's the remnant of Baal. From this place, and the name of the Shemaraims with the priests, right? And them that worship the host of heaven, right? Upon the housetops, and them that worship and that swear by the Lord Yahweh, and that swear by Malcham, right? So Malcham, he's another false deity. He's a false god of the Moabites, in which people will consider your Asians nowadays, right? Your Chinese. That's their god, right? So all of the people that's worshiping all of these false deities, right? Especially the hosts of heaven. Now the hosts of heaven will be the creations of the heavens, which will be your sun, your moon, and your stars, right? So nowadays, what they would consider Amun Ra, he's a sun god, right? They say when he died, he went into the sun. So that's what your Egyptologists love to say. They say instead of worshiping the sun, which is the son of the Most High, Hamashiach, right? They say you should be worshiping the sun, which is the host of heaven, the creation of the sun, right? And then you have your Sunday worship, which you're today's Christians, right? That's what Christianity worship. They have Sunday morning worship, which is Sunday worship, right? That's worshiping the host of heaven, right? And then you have Islam. They have the moon god, right? Which is the crescent moon with the star in the middle of it, right? That's more host of heaven there. That's all creations by the Most High, right? So it says here in verse 5, and them that worship the host of heaven upon the housetops, and them that worship and swear by the Lord, and that swear by Malchem, right? And them that are turned back from the Lord Yahweh, and those that have not sought the Lord, right? When you don't insult the Lord, right? It's like you sought the Lord. When you don't sought the Lord, you don't look for him. You don't look for the truth of him in the scriptures. His true biblical scripture, right? His true description of him in the book of Daniel, in the book of Revelation, right? Most of our people like to say, "Oh, he don't have a body. He don't have a description in the Bible. He looks like everyone. He doesn't have a color. He doesn't have a nationality or a lineage." And all of that is nonsense because all of that stuff is in the scripture. All you have to do is do your due diligence and study, right? And you will see it. Starting off with the book of Daniel and the book of Revelation. They will tell you how the Most High and his son Hamashiach look, right? So, as it says here again, in them that are turned back from the Lord Yahweh, and those that have not sought the Lord, nor inquired of him, right? So, most of our people, they don't even inquire about the Lord. They don't want to know about the law, statutes, and commandments, putting away the old man and coming back into the old paths, to reach the heavenly gates, man. Our people don't care about that. They off into the world, man. They celebrating all the carnal things of the world, all of their so-called holidays, Easter, Christmas, New Year's, the pagan days, Thanksgiving, all of these man-made days, man. They worried about, the latest car, you know, um, the latest fashion, the latest music, the hottest club. That's all our people was concerned with. Now, don't get me wrong, it's okay to have fun. Where there's no law, there's no sin, right? So you can have fun. You can love cars. Well, I wouldn't say love. I ain't gonna go that far, but you can like cars. It's okay. I like cars. You know what I mean? You can have nice clothes. I have nice clothes. It's okay to have money. It's not okay to love money and do whatever it takes to get money and sacrifice for money. That's when it's become a sin. Just as the scripture says, the love of money is the root of all evil, right? So when you start loving money and doing everything to get money, and you willing to steal for it or kill for it or degrade your brethren, right, or deceive people for it, that's when it becomes a sin. But it's okay to have money because in this world, money is needed. I ain't saying that you need money, but money is needed to do the things that you have to do, right? It's a defense, as the scripture says. It's not a need, it's a defense. So if you need to pay that mortgage, you need to pay your rent, you need to pay your light bill, it's the defense. It what keeps things going, right? So, those are the people that doesn't even inquire about the Lord. They don't care about keeping the Sabbath. They don't care about keeping the dietary law. They don't sort the Lord. They'd rather go after other gods. They'd rather go after Muhammad, Allah. And just as I said, it's not about Allah, it's about Allah Him, right? They like to search after the Egyptian Ankh. They like to say the woman is God, right? Where in the scripture does it says the woman is God, right? So that's what our people like to do, man. And they go off at that crazy. You know what I'm saying? Saying that, God doesn't have a color, or he doesn't have a body, or a biblical description. But you turn around and you believe the false image of Christ on that crucifix, or what's on that picture hanging on your wall or in churches nowadays, right? So he don't have a body according to the scriptures, but you're okay with that, right? That stuff is crazy, man. It's crazy. All right, so I'm gonna go to the book of Genesis to explain what the host of heaven is, right? And I'll probably cut it short right there because I don't want to be too long. Okay. And I'll just make a part 2 to this. So I'll probably make this, or probably one more, the last scriptures. And I'm gonna bring you a part 2. All right, so we're gonna go to the book of Genesis, chapter 1, which is the very first chapter of the Bible, right? And I'm gonna go down to verse 14. And it reads, and God, which is the Most High, right, said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years, and let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. Right? Slakia. And it was so. And God made 2 great lights, the greater light to rule the day, which is the sun, and the lesser light to rule the night, which is the moon. And it says here, he made the stars also. So that's your night lights there. That's your moon and that's your stars that you see in the sky. And God set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good, right? So those are your lights, which is in the firmament, which is in the heavens, right? The sun, the moon, and the stars, right? So I'm going to go to Genesis 2. Genesis 2, the very first verse. Okay. And it reads, thus the heavens and the earth were finished, right? And all the host of them, right? So remember, as it says in the book of Zephaniah, the host of heaven, right? So this is the Most High explaining to you what the host of heaven is. Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the hosts of them. So that's letting you know the sun, the moon, and the stars are the host of heaven, right? Now you go back to the book of Zephaniah. Okay. If I can find it here. All right, I guess I got to type it in. 1 second. Just to give you a little recap, that's all, right? All right, here we go. Zephaniah chapter 1, verses 4 to 6. And I'm starting at verse 5, right? And them that worship the host of heaven upon the housetops, and them that worship and that swear by the Lord, that is like here, and that swear by Malcham, right? So right then, just for the recap, it's letting you know that the Most High, He's going to stretch out His hand upon Judah and upon all the inhabitants of Jerusalem, which is our people, and cut off the remnant of Baal, right? So just as I was saying, if you're not worshiping the Most High, which is the God of the Scriptures, and having faith in His Son Hamashiach, then you're dealing with Baal, which is Satan, right? And the Most High said, "I will stretch out my hand upon Judah and upon all the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and I will cut off," meaning destroy, the remnant of Baal from this place, right? And them that worship the host of heaven. As I was saying, you got our people into that religious Christianity. They have that early Sunday morning rise worship, right? At 6 in the morning when the sun comes up. That's what that's all about. It's about worshiping the sun. That's why it says it's Sunday worship. Sunrise Sunday worship, right? And as I said before, with Islam, you have the crescent moon with the star. That's their symbol. That's their God. That's who they worship, right? So that's all of the host of heaven there, in which the Most High created in Genesis 1, which is the sun, moon, and the stars. And as it says here in verse 4, I will also stretch out my hand upon Judah and upon the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and I will cut off the remnant of Baal from this place. Right? So all of the sinners, right? All of your false deities, all of your false gods and your graven images, all of the people of our people who the Most High chastise and chosen of this world, He's going to cut you off, man. You worshiping all of these false gods. You want to worship Amun Ra, which is the sun, which is a host of heaven. You want to worship Allah and Muhammad, right? Which is the host of heaven, which is the crescent moon and a star, right? You worship on all in Christianity, Sunday worship, right? So all of that stuff is false gods, man. I'm gonna go to the book of Jeremiah, chapter 4. I'm gonna go down to verse 22. So hopefully that this message right here is reaching a lot of people, man. Now don't get me wrong, us brothers and sisters of this faith, we understand all of this, right? You got some new and you got some that's old that been doing this for years. The new ones, the Most High is going to give the understanding in due time. But the older ones, we understand this here, right? That's why I'm making this video to bring this out. A lot of our people don't understand, let alone the new ones that's coming into this faith. But what about the ones that don't inquire about the Most High? As it says in the book of Zephaniah, right? So hey man, hopefully that this is edifying to the people out there. That's the reason why we do these videos, right? Verse 22: For my people is foolish; they have not known me. They are sottish children, right? If you look up the definition of sottish, shalakia, it's stupid, right? It's foolish. This, as it says here, for my people is foolish. They have not known me. They are sottish children, right? They are silly children. They are stupid children, right? They out here worshiping all of these other gods. They have the scriptures right in front of them, which is the truth, to read and do the due diligence and study to see who the Most High is, right? But they choose not to do that. What they say, oh, that Bible was fake. It's the slave man's book. It's the white man's book. Why are you following that Bible, right? But they want to call themselves Christian, right? And then that religious building they call a church that they go to reads the same exact Bible. Probably not even the same exact Bible, because there's different plagiarized versions of it nowadays. You have the NIV, you have the ESV, you have the American Standard Version, you have the Book of Mormon, you have all of these different false Bibles, right? But they read out of those Bibles in those churches. But when we come to them with the King James versions, which is the 1611 edition, oh, that's the white man's book, right? You know, our people is foolish, man. That's what the Most High says right here. They are sottish children, right? And they have not, Salaki, they have none understanding. They are wise to do evil, which is worship of the gods, graven images, right? Get that tattoo of the Egyptian Ankh and say, oh, the woman is God, right? Worship Amun Ra. You got to worship the sun, brother. Not 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 Christ the Son. You got to worship the Egyptian sun, right? That stuff is foolish, man. That's why it says they are sottish children, and they have none understanding. They are wise to do evil, but to do good have no knowledge, right? So our people is quick to do evil, man. They quick to defile the Sabbath day. They quick to defile the dietary law. They want to eat the shrimp, lobster, crab, shellfish, clams, mussels, snakes, octopus, calamari salad, right? They want to eat all of that stuff, man, and they don't care, and they do it proudly. You know, they post it all on social media. They see the truth up there, but they disregard it. They cast it behind them, and they do whatever they want, man. And the Most High hates that, and He's going to destroy them for that, man. It says in the book of Zephaniah, the remnant of Baal I will cut off from this place, right? But to do good, they have no knowledge. So our people, they don't want to come back to the law, statutes, commandments, man. They don't want to come back to the one true God. You know, they want to join these wicked, evil, Luciferian secret societies, right? And worship other gods, man. Underhandedly and secretly worship Satan. You know, that's what our people are doing, man. And if they're not all out saying that they're worshiping Satan, they doing it unknowingly by worshiping Amun Ra and Allah and Buddha and Saint Mary, other deities and false graven images. That's what you're doing, man. Right? So that's what our people do. They have no knowledge, man. Right? I'm gonna go to the book of Hosea and I'm gonna end it there. And I'll probably bring you part two very soon. All right, this is the book of Hosea, chapter 6. Slakia, verse 6, and chapter 4 in the book of Hosea. All right, and it reads, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, because thou hast rejected knowledge, which is the truth of the scriptures, the law, statutes, commandments of the Most High, right? I will also reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me, right? So you're not going to be like us, brothers and sisters of this faith, right? You ain't going to have the truth in your mouth. You ain't going to be able to entice and persuade people to keep the law, statutes, commandments of the Most High, right? So you ain't going to be no priest to the Most High, which is the God of the Bible, right? Seeing that thou hast forgotten the law of thy God, which is your God, your power, which is the law, statutes, the commandments, right? I will also forget thy children, right? Just as I read, into your third, fourth generation, that's when the Most High is going to visit your children for the iniquity of what your great, 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 great grandfather and mother did, right? So right here, the Most High is letting you know, I will also forget thy children, which is your your great grand, your great 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 grandchildren, right? Since you have forgotten thy law, which is the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High, you cast it behind you with no problem. You know, you're going to eat that BLT. You're going to eat that shrimp, that calamari salad, right? The catfish, all the abominable things, right? The Sunday's ham with the pineapples and the honey glaze all over it, right? As they were increased, so they sinned against me. Therefore, I will change their glory into shame. Right? So when you increase, you know, when our people get a little bit of money, you know, they get a good job, you know, they get a nice car, they like to stunt, right? So that's basically what it's saying here, that they increase. They got money. They forget about the Most High. They forget about keeping the laws, right? They forget about seeking Hamashiach and following Hamashiach, right? So it says here, therefore I will change their glory into shame. They eat up the sin of my people, which are the people that's allowing us to sin. Those are your oppressors of the land, right? They know that you cut off from your true power, which is the Most High. So they set their eyes upon your sin because they know that you're the chosen people and you're in sin. They doing what they supposed to do, right? They worshiping their God, which is Satan. They know that you're not supposed to be doing that. So they eat up the sin of my people and they set their heart upon their iniquity, which is the breaking of the law, statutes, commandments. And there shall be like people, like priests, and I will punish them for their ways and reward them their doings. For they shall eat and not have enough. They shall commit whoredom. When you commit whoredom, right, that's worshiping other gods. That's believing in those false deity, those graven images, right? Instead of the one true God of the scriptures. And shall not increase, right? So this as it says, you're not going to increase. This like the book of Habakkuk says. What profited to you of a graven image? You know, what can Allah do for you? What can Mohammed do for you? What can Buddha do for you? Astoreth, which is Easter, right? What being a 5%er can do for you? An Egyptologist, a Scientologist who believe in the Big Bang Theory, right? What can that do for you, right? So it says here, they shall commit whoredom and shall not increase, but they have left off to take heed to the Lord, which is Yahweh, which is learning about the law, statutes, and commandments, right? Whoredom and wine and new wine take away their heart, right? So the whoredom, which is going after other gods, the wine, right, of the wine of those gods, oh, believing in the son of Egypt, which is Amun Ra, oh, the false image of Christ on the crucifix, right? That's the wine. And then you have the new wine, right? Oh, the laws are done away with. We can do whatever we want. We can eat whatever we want. We're in grace. We're in everlasting grace, right? This society ain't never going to end. And by you saying that, you're saying that you don't believe that the Messiah is going to return. You don't believe that there's going to be a second coming of Christ. So by you saying that, you know, that you have faith in this society that it's going to last forever, that's basically what you're saying, right? You're not saying it verbally exactly, but that's what you're saying, right? So that's the new wine. The laws are done away with. You know, we can go to church on Sunday. We can defile the Sabbath. We can do overtime on the Sabbath, right? All of that stuff right there, man. That's the new wine, right? My people ask counsel at their stocks, and their staff declareth unto them, for the spirit of whoredoms have caused them to err. That means go off, right? You're being crazy, man. Say, oh, the woman is God, right? That's erring, man. That's going off, right? Believing in all that Egyptology crap and Allah and Mohammed and Islam, right? And they have gone a whoring from their God, right? So that's what the Most High is saying here. You're gone a whoring from under their God, right? And that's slang right there. You know, a whoring. You know what I'm saying? You done gone a whoring, right? So that's what our people do, man. And it's crazy, man. And our people need to really cut it out, man. They walking around here with these Egyptian ankhs hanging from their ears. They got Egyptian ankhs tattooed on their face, their chest, their arm. You know, crucifixes with the false image of Christ. You know, how can you have a false image of Christ tattooed on your arm, man? Let alone an Egyptian ankh. You know, you got the Pharaoh tattooed on you. All of that stuff is going off, man. You, oh, I'm a Muslim. I believe in Allah, you know, in Muhammad. Muhammad was the prophet. Like, come on, man. All of that stuff is going on. You believing in Easter, Astoreth, the Lady of Fertility, right? Sunday worship, worship in the sun. You know what I'm saying? Like all of that stuff is going off, man. And that's what it says here. Cause them to err. And they have gone a whoring from under their God. Right? So I'm gonna end that there. And I'm gonna bring part two very soon, you know, so stay tuned. Hopefully that this was edifying. You know, hopefully that the people could pick up their Bible, you know, do their due diligence and do some study, man. You know what I'm saying? Because we living in these last days, and a lot of people don't think that they're serious, man. They take it for a joke. And the Messiah is returning soon, and he's going to redeem his people. And for all of you people who's gone off, you know, saying that the laws are done away with, you know, we're under grace and we can do whatever we want. All of that stuff is going off, man, and you're going to be taken by surprise when the Most High sent His Son Hamashiach back, Salakia, to redeem His chosen one. The one that's keeping the truth in sincerity and spirit, and in these scriptures, and doing their due diligence and studying, man, and watching for the times. So I'm gonna end that there. And just like I said, hopefully that this was enjoying and edifying. And hey, pick up those Bibles, man. Start reading these Bibles. Just don't go to church and say, "Oh, I'm a religious Christian and I believe in Christ," which is the false image of Christ, by the way, and say that you know the Bible, but when you ask certain questions of scriptures in the Bible, like Revelation 1:18, you know what I'm saying, or Daniel chapter 6 verse 10, they don't know anything about that, but they say, "Oh, I believe in Christ and I follow Christ," right? All right, so I'm gonna end that there, and with that, love is love. Shalom.